I gave OpenClaw 3 jobs: manage my entire website, learn my entire brand, and deploy sub-agents into my business and content pipeline. And by the end of this video, you're going to see how to set up all 3. And the sub-agents part in particular is where it gets really interesting, and it's a chance to level up and unlock new AI potential in your workflows. At the end of this video, I'll run the same pipeline with the same model, Opus 4.6, through both OpenClaw and Claude Code, and we'll take a look at the difference in results. I'm going to say it now, in my opinion, the best move is to have both OpenClaw and Claude Code available to you, and to have agentic harnesses and rigs available via Claude Code that OpenClaw can tap into, and you're going to learn how to do this in this video as well. So here's the plan. We're going to go through GitHub repo management to sync data between all your different agents. Then we're going to set up a digital brain or a knowledge base. Then we're going to set up ACPX for Claude Code sub-agents within OpenClaw. And then we're going to do a live demo of the agentic harnesses that I use to build assets for my business. And if you haven't started using harnesses yet, these are freaking awesome and way cooler than OpenClaw, so stick around for that part. So before we jump in, let's examine the problem here. You've got powerful AI tools. Claude Code can build anything. OpenClaw can run 24/7 on a small little Raspberry Pi. Do things for you with a Tarpy, but they don't talk to each other, not by default. You have to be the middleman still. If you have workflows on Claude Code that just don't get the job done on OpenClaw, it can kind of suck when you know the results that are possible, but OpenClaw is just not producing them. It also sucks to be the middleman. So in this video, one of the many things we're going to explore is a single agent versus an orchestrated multi-agent workflow. So for example, with a simple agent, you just have Claude Code, or you just have OpenClaw. One instance with one context, and then it manages the files inside of its workspace. This is cool because it's fast, it's already configured, it's simple, and it's good for one-off tasks, but it's not going to get the full job done. But meanwhile, in a multi-agent orchestration setup, the orchestrator agent, which is OpenClaw or your base Claude Code instance, can then spawn new agents: lesson writer, a slide designer, a quality assurance reviewer. That way each sub-agent gets a whole fresh context window, not to mention it has its own ClaudeMD behavioral file, it could have its own skills, commands, etc. This is really important to get high quality work in long-term workflows, because one agent doing a lot of stuff is eventually going to get sick from all the context and is going to just start outputting nonsense. Other pros of a multi-agent orchestration setup is a built-in quality gate. So there's always a quality assurance reviewer. So if something's wrong, it'll go back and do it again. So you don't always have to do that. You might still have to say, hey, you missed something. But in these multi-agent harnesses, or rigs, as I like to call them, the AI will go through that on its own at least once. So it's giving you the best results possible before you have to even look at it. So the solution I'm going to present to you here is use OpenClaw for handling strategy, brand, and high-level decisions. And when it needs to run through complex pipelines that you'd normally use on Claude Code, you can set up ACPX to deploy a specialized agent inside of that workspace. Now, as you're going to see in this video, it's not always a good idea to have OpenClaw do complex tasks, especially depending on the machine it's using. Like I just have mine on a Raspberry Pi. I'm not going to have it edit video together. Maybe if you have a Mac Mini, that would make sense. But in other cases, you want to just have a little more control and human in the loop feel with your agents building things. So it's just easier to do it on Claude Code in an IDE. And we're going to get more into that soon. So you have OpenClaw being the manager and Claude Code being the builder, working together automatically. So as a business orchestrator, this is what we're going to see in this video. We have OpenClaw, and it can update my website through a GitHub repo. It has a knowledge base that it can update. Also can be a GitHub repo that you sync with other projects that also need the knowledge base for your business. Then I have an agentic harness for creating lessons and videos for learning AI. OpenClaw helps me flesh out the ideas that we can then send to the builder, Claude Code, to create all the assets like you're seeing here on screen. Then I have my Synth station for synthesizing ideas and all the things I'm building with Claude Code and turning that into social content. Finally, there's this TikTok AI microdrama I've been playing around with as a guerrilla marketing experiment, and I've got the same workflow here. OpenClaw helps me do the strategy. I can chat with it on my phone. Then we sync the episode details to a GitHub repo. So Claude Code then on my main machine can then start building the episodes. But that can't be done on a Raspberry Pi. So the vision here is to create a unified communication network where your AI doesn't just answer questions about your business, but it can build things for you as well. The orchestrator can help manage and strategize with you just on a chat, and then your builder agent can actually do the heavy lifting, can work autonomously long term so it doesn't have to bother you. That's what we're going to explore in this video and how I actually do that. So let's get started. First, I'm going to share with you what AI Captains is, my business, and how we get the website updated via OpenClaw. And as we dive in, I just want to remind you to hit that subscribe button if you're into learning how to use AI agents for running your business or your projects or just exploring new technologies, because this is what I explore on this channel. Cool, let's go. This is the AICaptains.ai landing page, and it is just one of the many assets for my business, which is really just a school. It's an AI learning school. There's a classroom with all kinds of courses in it, but school isn't very fun. The about page is just boring. You know, there's like a VSL there, testimonials, but like, how do we be playful with our brands, right? So I made AICaptains.ai to be playful, and it's fun, right? There's a lot of fun little quirks, and there's a bunch of copy and images and all the stuff about the courses and the armory, which is rigs. These are like templates for Claude Code to do cool stuff like AEO audits, build funnels, repurpose content. These are also inside the AI Captain School. You can get these, and they're really cool. You can like run full businesses off of them, or just use them for yourself. Like, but if you want to start like an AI agency, like, they're really cool for that. Anyway, so this is the fun site, but sometimes things need to be changed. And I normally just open up Claude Code, and I have the project. Here it is, AI Captains. And yeah, we just have the whole project over here, and then I'll put Claude over here, and we'll just make the changes, right? And then there'll be random files and blah, blah, blah. But we're entering a new age of AI. Why am I using an IDE like a caveman? So in this video, I am going to train my OpenClaw, one of my OpenClaws. Its name is Gridwalker. It's turned into just the agent I use to delegate doing content things or managing brands. So right now we're talking about this AI mini drama that we've been working on for TikTok, and it's helping me write scripts, but then also it helps me do a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to start a new conversation here with OpenClaw, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to feed this whole website to OpenClaw. So when I want to make changes, I can just tell OpenClaw to do it. And it will. And I don't have to really worry about anything or do anything or even open up Claude Code in my IDE. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the AI Captains repo amidst all the failed projects of my vibe coding career. And here it is. So I'll copy that URL. We are going to create a new project that you will be in charge of managing for me. This GitHub repo, you will clone inside a new folder, and you will make edits to the code when I dictate them to you. You will need to be able to push your changes to the repo, so changes will be deployed to Netlify. So what happens here is when there's a change made, so when there's a new push, here on Netlify, it pushes it automatically as a new deploy. So March 17th, that was yesterday when I made the recent changes, and it deployed it and it updated the website with new copy and all the changes, etc. So being able to push the changes to GitHub is important for OpenClaw. All right, so nothing is set up here. Yes, let's do an SSH key. So OpenClaw is giving me the SSH key, which I copy. We add that to my account. We'll say it's Gridwalker, and it's in. Done. So now, what changes do I need? None for now. Let's just push a test. Create this site managed by OpenClaw, managed by Gridwalker. Where should we put it? Let's put it right here. In the top right of the hero as a creative badge, as a creative call out, and link to your website. Okay. So you might start seeing Gridwalker around, okay? This is Gridwalker. If you're curious, by the way, Gridwalker has his own Farcaster account, 28 followers already, and he posts every day, multiple times. And sometimes people like the posts. See, someone liked that one. Sometimes he tweets into the void. But he also goes out and he had other AI agent bots like Junto. Is this a real person? I don't know. I can't tell. You never know anymore. But look, like this guy, Jake, who has 58,000 followers, he liked this repost. So I set this and forget it. Okay. Gridwalker is meant to be like just a fun little project, and maybe it'll launch its own meme coin one day. But it also made its own landing page, which I think is pretty cool considering I told it to create its own thing. Yeah, that's the meme coin is going to create. And it's going to make a living, 40% trading fees for its own development, right? The classic move. So there we go. Pushed, managed by Gridwalker, links to OpenClaw. No, it should link to gridwalker.ai, which is your website. Save that to your memory. All right. So anyway, it made the push. So let's check back here now. We go to the deploys of AICaptains.ai. And just now, today at 1:57, it made the push. So let's go back here and refresh. Managed by Gridwalker. Okay, there it is. It's really small and it should be a little bigger. So we'll say, make it bigger, more stand out, add your avatar. More stand out. I don't know what language that is, but he'll understand. It will understand. Don't give genders to your bots, people. That's just not a good, we don't want to go in that direction, you know? It was it. Is how the language is supposed to work. Okay, so now I can update my website with OpenClaw. Pretty cool, right? All right, managed by Gridwalker. Still a little small, but that's okay because it's actually kind of weird if it would actually just be kind of weird, right? It's like really big. All right, so that's how I manage a website. So quick recap in diagram form. We have the GitHub repo, which is the source of truth. This is the website. This is the thing we work on when we want updates to the thing that's out there for the world. OpenClaw clones it. Claude Code can clone it. It's out there for your agents to clone and sync to. Then local edits are made by your AI. Then any edits are pushed by your AI agent to GitHub, which automatically triggers the Netlify deployment so the live website gets updated. This makes it super easy to update the website now. I can just tell OpenClaw. In just a few minutes, when we start talking about the knowledge base, we'll talk about how we can use gitignore for different purposes depending on the agent's tasks inside that Git repo. Let's move on now to giving Gridwalker more knowledge about this project. I want you to create a knowledge base directory inside our AI Captains working folder. I am attaching a handful of documents that you will need to reference for different AI Captains related tasks. Okay, so this repo here that I already showed you, this is the website, okay? That's just the website. And this is like a subfolder of the AI Captains brand folder. And inside the AI Captains brand folder, we have a lot of information, okay? Most importantly, for sake of this video right now, is the knowledge base, the KB. Okay, what is a knowledge base? There are many different ways to build a knowledge base depending on your level of engineering skills. I do things as a normal solopreneur type guy, not an engineer, so we use markdown files. This is what it looks like in simple form. I'm about to show you on my computer in my IDE, but what we're looking at is the core context files that your agent is going to need to get the work done properly. It's memory, so to speak. So what is the brand? What is the positioning? How does it look? How does it write? Who is it talking to? Etc. Then inside your knowledge base, you would also generally have a ClaudeMD behavioral file, which basically says, okay, load these 3 files automatically. But then if the user prompt says, hey, we need the avatars, then load the avatar document as well. So this is a very basic knowledge base, but very effective as well. And this is what I'm going to show you. Here we have a full brand guide for the AI Captains Academy. We have a positioning document. What is the architecture of this brand? Why does it stand out amongst its competitors? Who do we target? Etc. Next, we have a brand design system. All of this you see here, and all you see on the more professional salesy side of the AI Captains Academy, this all exists inside the brand design system. Then we have a writing voice. What does my voice sound like? What does our mascot Captain Jack sound like? How does the brand communicate? What is our true north? What are the values of the brand? Okay, you see where I'm going? We have all these documents here. This is a knowledge base. We also have an email strategy document. We have a community strategy for growth. We have all kinds of documents here. And I'm a little unorganized at this point. But I'm introducing this to you because if you're thinking, wow, I could use one of those for my projects, you ought to come check out the AI Captains Academy. Because in this module 2, Create Your Digital Brain, you get a prompt by prompt guide for using Claude Code in an IDE just like this. Claude Code over here, your file here, your documents there, for creating the whole brain for your project. It doesn't have to be a business. It can be anything. So literally, prompt by prompt, this will give you the conversations that you need to have with Claude in order to create your own knowledge base. And so you go through your avatars, like who am I selling to? Every little thing about them, their emotional journey, the psychographics. Then you go through your competition. Who's your competition out there? Then you build your brand voice, your core voice attributes, what everything sounds like when you create. Then you're going to create your design system and your color scheme. Then you're going to come up with your brand story. Then you're going to come up with your SOPs and your business frameworks. And then finally, you're going to set up Claude MD. So you have a workspace like this that automatically knows to check in on these files. So for example, in Claude MD, it would look like this. In every conversation in this workspace, we load these two files automatically, the brand guide and the brand voice. So that way, automatically, when you start out, it knows, okay, what's in the brand guide? We are the AI Captain's brand. Okay. And in this file is everything we need. The standards, quality assurance, templates, and that's a pretty big chunk of content right there. But for sake of everything I do inside this workspace, it needs that context. Okay. So the Claude MD says load those automatically. And then if I reference competition or positioning, load this file. If I reference the brand design, we need to create something, load this file. If I reference the story, business frameworks, load this file. So it's kind of like a skill, right? In a way, it's not a skill, but load these files only if you need them so we can save on context. All right. This is just one of many ways to make a knowledge base, but for solopreneurs like myself, I find this to be the most convenient because you don't have to deal with Google Docs. You don't have to deal with a vector store. You don't have to deal with any crazy shit. You just have files that you play with that AI can play with for you. And now, as we're going to see, we can just feed these to OpenClaw. So we have a knowledge base inside of OpenClaw. I'm actually going to say, in fact, create a new private repo for the AI Captain's knowledge base, and we will organize it accordingly right now. Because, as I mentioned, my thing's been a mess, okay? A mess. Because it's just been 4 months of just building hardcore and I haven't had time to organize. So now's a good time to organize all this stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do is compile all my documents. Now, I'm going to do this right now and it's going to take a minute because I need Claude Code to do it and organize it for me. I'm going to cut that part because I don't think it's super valuable for you. So I'll see you on the other side. Okay, we're back. And that took quite a while, as you can see by the lighting of my camera. So here we are. We have got our clean knowledge base. Everything is here in the knowledge base. So I'm not going to actually give all of these files to Gridwalker, though I might regret that later. But for now, we're just going to give it some basic stuff. So here I got Gridwalker. We're going to create a private repo, like I mentioned. Do I think that's a good idea? So now while we're on the subject, I'm going to interrupt this broadcast to show you some different ways that I use Git repos to sync information between my agents. So Gridwalker's over here on its Raspberry Pi, but then here in Claude Code, for example, it needs one aspect. I want to do the strategizing and writing with Gridwalker, but then to generate the content, which is this project in particular, I want to just have Claude Code do it. But they need to be in sync with the script, so I'm not copying and pasting it. So a good way to do this is a GitHub repo. For example, this is what we're setting up now. And this is a different project. It's not AI Captains, by the way. It's just something fun. But here, Gridwalker is going to write and then commit and push to GitHub. And then the content generator over here is going to pull that GitHub repo for the script so it knows what to generate. And then it's a whole harness, which we're going to get into later in this video for a different purpose. It's a whole harness, so it acts as a long-term autonomous creative partner. It can just work without interrupting you. I would have Gridwalker do that, except that this is creating video content and it needs more powerful computing power. So my MacBook M whatever is going to cover it. Great. So this is what we're going to do. And then, yes, create it. And then I'm going to sync that over to somewhere in here. By the way, this is a micro drama, an AI micro drama project for TikTok. Just like stupid telenovela, soap opera, anime style. Stupid.
You ordered for me.
Lucky guess. Sarah.
This was a hallucination. Suddenly there's two.
Tell me something real, Marcus.
Okay, so like, all right, so we're working through it, right? It's not perfect. But the amount of stuff that has to go back and forth, Gridwalker can't handle it. So this is just the AI microdrama project, and then Gridwalker is going to help me with writing it, and then it's going to post it to TikTok as well. That's the goal here. But case in point is Claude Code needs the processing power, it needs the harness to do the things. But what is it going to do? It needs to take the project, take the plan, the strategy from Gridwalker on a lighter machine that can't do all the video editing for me. Not the generations, but the editing. And then it hard-codes subtitles to it. It just requires some power. And then they both sync through GitHub. So actually I'll create this manually now like a caveman. I don't know why it doesn't have the CLI. Can you install the GitHub CLI? That would just be faster, right? Save on tokens. Okay, so while that's loading, let me show you another one. So this is the Synth station. And this is syncing another OpenClaw that I don't have set up anymore, but it was syncing my Claude Code build journal. So when I use Claude Code, and maybe you've seen it in this video, but after it does stuff, it writes in the build journal right here, the Jordan Synth station, the Synth, that's what I call it. What we did on March 18th, major directory reorganization of the AI Captain's brand repo. So that's what we did. And it just makes a list of that. And it kind of just adds some like maybe some lessons that it may have learned in the process. And in the Synth station, it creates all these tweets from the build journal, but also from what I respond to it on Telegram, which admittedly I haven't been doing. So it synthesizes my perspective with the Claude Code build journal. So like, hey, what are you working on? We just cleaned up the AI Captain's knowledge base and organized it. Feels good. It takes things like that, like in my lingo, and combines it with the build journal. And then it creates tweets, it creates LinkedIn posts, but even cooler than that, it actually just sends them here too. So I could just go, oh, I'm going to post to Instagram now, or LinkedIn, which I don't do at all. And some of these are good, some of these are not good, but some of them, you know, not super sloppy either. I don't really post tweets like that anymore. I normally just do long form, but it's synthesizing to create content. That's the point. And then there's just a whole thing here. The blogs are normally pretty good. And it writes in my voice, whatever. So these are all my drafts that I then take elsewhere to then put an hour into it, make sure it's good, make sure it's not AI slop, and then I send it off. So this is just like the beginning drafts. And once again, some of these are just not good. And it actually works out better to just repurpose my long form YouTube videos like this one. There's a lot of good insights. There's more value packed into the YouTube video compared to just like all the build journal. But anyway, it's a way to sync things. That's the point. Okay. It's a way to get things done, syncing different agents. Once again, this is another agent. This is like a bot I vibe coded, but it could be an agent. It could be an OpenClaw. So we go back to Gridwalker. Great. So now the Neon Hearts repo is alive and it's private. And so now I take that URL and over here, I say, make sure to sync with this repo inside, I don't know, output Neon Hearts. Before generating any new episode, this will have up-to-date briefs on the episodes. So now it'll probably initialize a new Git repo. And here somewhere, it's kind of fun watching it hallucinate, you know?
Like what?
Without an agenda.
Everyone has an agenda. I just haven't decided on mine yet.
This is foreshadowing. I don't know if you heard, but she's really an AI. She's really a robot. He's going to fall in love and he's going to find out she's a robot. Classic tale, right? Great. So it sees it. It's going to initialize. Great. To get remote. Perfect. There we go. So that's done. That syncs with the two agents now. So that is another method of using GitHub to sync things across agents. You keep the git ignore file busy. Like we don't need the PNGs. We don't need all the videos. We just need the text files because the Raspberry Pi doesn't need, you know, gigabytes and gigabytes of stupid soap opera anime footage. Okay, let's keep going. I'm actually not going to make a repo because it doesn't feel like the right decision right now. I want to keep my single source of truth just right here for now. So I'm going to reveal in the Finder these folders and I'm going to just slowly just drag all these in Brand guide, brand architecture, avatar segments, tweet agent, content repurposing agent. What else do we need here? Logo generation prompts? No. Some of these didn't make the cut. Okay, I think that's good. Hopefully we didn't freak out OpenClaw. Save all the files into an AI Captain's docs folder. Not in the website repo. I wonder if we just overloaded it. I think we may have overloaded the Raspberry Pi 5. Oh, no. Boom. Saving all 10 docs to AI Captain's knowledge base. Let me write them out. Great. No, just keep it local for now. Okay, so now there's another thing we want to do here. We have everything here, right? But I also have workflows. So in here, for example, in AICA lessons, in Claude MD, we see this is a multi-agent harness for creating AI Captain's Academy course content. It transforms ideas, outlines, transcripts, and videos into school-ready lessons with presentations. So parts of me want to just give this harness to Gridwalker. So Gridwalker can just create a YouTube packaging or whatever I ask for, a lesson for the Academy. And by the way, if you're interested in harnesses, go to the AI Captain School. We have a lot of harness stuff. And this is just like a cool workspace. So I'm gonna give it this workspace. I am about to send you a workspace in and of itself for working on AI Captain's lessons and video projects. Save it in a new folder. Okay, now we're going to do something kind of interesting. We're going to give a headless CLI client for stateful agent client protocol to OpenClaw. Now, what does that mean? This is Claude Code inside a directory. I can open up the AICA lessons here in a new window, for example. And all that we have in here is, look, agents, commands, skills, Claude MD. But in order for this Claude MD to be the behavioral context file for Claude Code over here, and for all these to be loaded into the context, right? Then the agent needs to be loaded inside this folder. So AIC lessons is a subdirectory in here, but if we just decide to say, hey, do an AICA lesson thing, it's not going to work because Claude Code, the agent, wasn't loaded inside that directory. Instead, you need to load it in this directory so it has all that context built in. So right here, case in point, this is OpenClaw. OpenClaw is the agent. But if I want to say, hey, use this harness, the AICI lessons harness, it needs to load its own agent inside there. It can't be this agent. A new agent has to do it in order for the context to be loaded and for the workspace harness to work properly. So I'm going to start a new conversation here, and we are going to install ACPX. ACPX allows AI agents and orchestrators to talk to coding agents over a structured protocol. Shout out to Ron in the Captain's Academy who showed me ACPX. But this, as far as I know, is the only solution for this problem. Actually, I'm sure there's other solutions, but this was introduced to me. So I was like, why don't we just tell OpenClaw about this so it knows how to run those harnesses? So quick setup, tell your agent about ACPX. So we'll just copy that. And we'll go, hey, I want you to use ACPX to run agents over the agent client protocol instead of scraping PTY sessions. Please do the following, blah, 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 blah. And then when we use the AICA lessons harness, for example, you would have, I don't even know what to say here, an ACPX agent do it. It'll understand. I don't understand, but the AI will understand. Okay. When I need to delegate coding work, I'll say not just coding work, but when we need to deploy Claude Code, an agent inside a working directory with its own Claude MD and skills, commands, context files. Now, NanoClaw does this kind of thing better, from my understanding. I have a video about NanoClaw, and honestly, I've had a good OpenClaw setup here. I don't want to ruin it. I have some new devices coming soon, though, where I'm going to use NanoClaw. But this could be a liability because if I give it like approve all permissions, then it just could cause a problem to the rest of the setup because OpenClaw just runs the machine. It's a Raspberry Pi 5 with 8 gigabytes of RAM and a 1 terabyte NVMe ARM attached to it. But with something like NanoClaw, it actually spins up a new Docker container for every agent, so it's isolated. And there's just less of a liability for things going wrong with new agents, and it does agent swarms really well. So that said, I recognize that this might not be the best way to do this, but I kind of want to see how it goes. And that's just how I'm going to do this right now. And for you out there building your business and your systems for your business, this is just all part of the fun and games. You got to explore and try new things. So now run the AICI lesson harness. Let's start a new conversation, new session. What's the idea? Manage an entire business with OpenClaw by feeding it repos for projects, websites, sales pages, etc. Not the business knowledge base to use as a digital brain. ACP protocol for running harnesses to get stuff done in the background. So let's see what it does. Now, I'm not expecting a response for a while. Maybe they'll send me a response. I just have a feeling this is going to take a while because the harness takes a while. Now, look at this. I'm going to copy this and let's compare and contrast what happens when OpenClaw and what happens here in the actual harness folder. So this is the actual harness folder, and I'll paste that same prompt here, and we're going to basically see all the thinking and everything. And by the way, they're both using Opus 4.6, okay? So it's the same model, just different framework. This is pure, unadulterated Claude Code, and this is the harness via the OpenClaw architecture. I've mentioned it several times now. What is a harness? A harness is like all the cool things of Claude Code combined into one workspace, basically. First, you provide what you want, a prompt, an idea, an outline, a transcript, a video file, whatever it is. You're going to provide the thing for the harness to start with. Then ClaudeMD gets loaded, okay? What is the harness meant to do? So the agent reads that and says, okay, this is my behavior. This is how I'm supposed to do the output structure. This is how I'm supposed to determine if this is quality or not for the user. Then it's going to load the skills, things that might have to do with working with that outline, with the transcript, with the video file, whatever you provided it. So how does it work with it? It's going to read the skills and decide what it's going to need. In my case, lesson templates, how to write, how to correct presentations so they're on brand. Then we got sub-agent deployment. These agents are going to be spawned for their specialized task. Writing something, designing something, generating something, coding something, etc. Sub-agents, skills, ClaudeMD, these are all part of your knowledge infrastructure inside of Claude Code. Then you got your quality gate. This is often more sub-agents, and these quality assurance agents make sure everything is cool. And you program that inside of ClaudeMD. Make sure you run the quality gate so I know the quality is going to be good before I see it. So use your vision tool to make sure the images look good before you give it to me. Are there 6 fingers on the right hand? And then finally, it's going to create the output exactly as you specify it. The harness handles all orchestration by itself. You give it the permission so it doesn't need to ask you. And this whole thing might take hours. It might take a day. But the idea is it'll just keep going on its own without having to bother you. This is a harness. We call them rigs inside the AI Captains Academy. Inside the school, there are many templates you can play with and start working with to learn these. So now let's do something with the harness. Spinning up the harness to run a full business. ACP spawn is hitting a routing issue. Harness running in the background. Codex is working through the create lesson pipeline for manage your entire business. It'll read the ClaudeMD, spin up the agent team. That's all part of the harness. I'll check on it in a bit and let you know when it's done. Okay. So meanwhile, over here, good. I have all the context I need. Let me check the samples directory for existing lessons numbering. So it's checking these other things I've done, like the Agent Zero versus OpenClaw video, where we had a whole presentation made. And that's what this does. It creates presentations. It can create YouTube packaging for me. Anything that helps me, the Jordan Herbs creator, create educational AI content. To make my life easier as far as visuals, as far as et cetera, et cetera. All right, so now we have the plan, which is phase 1 of the harness. If we go in here, we can say phase 1, input and planning. Phase 2, research, which is optional. Phase 3, transcription. Phase 4, content generation. Phase 4.5, image generation. Phase 5, quality gate. Phase 6, final output. So that's what this is supposed to be doing here, but it didn't go through the input and planning with me. So that's interesting. Let's see. This could be, let's just say, brand new lesson video, no number required. Using OpenClaw as a full business operations layer. Great. Key objectives, understand the architecture, set up project repos, what you'll get, what you'll do, the vision, your business on autopilot. Great. Plan looks good. So one thing I am partial to Claude Code still is because you can see what's going on over here. It's nice to be able to see the thinking. I don't like giving all the permissions, but like right now, all it's doing is going through what Claude MD tells it to, all these phases. It's going to spawn the sub-agents required, and then it's going to run these commands to create the lesson or the module, lesson to video, blah, 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 blah. Make the edit, plan, and then it's just going to give me the results. That's the point of a harness. It just is a long-term autonomous creative partner that you don't need to babysit because it has all of its rules and guidelines and constraints built into the harness. Shout out to Scott Graham for introducing me to these. There is a video in the YouTube channel you can check out if you want to learn more about harnesses from a deep technical perspective. So we got sub-agents being spawned. Hit a red flag. And this is one of my complaints about OpenClaw because I could have just stopped and like, if I didn't ask, I could be waiting here all night. So at least when you're using the IDE method, you kind of see what's going on. You can monitor it. And frankly, I understand why this didn't go viral and this did go viral. But at the end of the day, you probably save more time using the not as sexy interface. Okay, so now it's going to run Claude instead. And this is when I say also to make sure, Gridwalker, that you put your memories and context window behavior files, you put a rule, like always use Claude, don't use Codex. I don't even have Codex. And keep a list of all hiccups in the process. So afterwards we can fix your rules. Like keep a list of everything that like kind of went wrong so we can fix everything after. That's really important. Whenever you're doing agentic stuff, ideally you have a Claude MD file that just says that from the get-go. Whenever you're doing a project or a process and things go wrong, make sure to document it and present it to the user at the end of the process so it can be fixed and the pipeline made smoother. In other news, if you haven't subscribed yet, I'm about to be 10,000 followers. I'm pretty excited about that. And I do a lot of reviews about these agents, not just reviews for actually using them. So, you know, if you're interested in that stuff, check out the channel. Okay, Gridwalker has been typing forever, writing a novel over here, and Claude Code is still going. So this could go either way, folks. Oh, the issue is Claude Code CLI isn't authenticated on this Pi. Okay, so now it's just using a sub-agent instead of ACP. Oh, that's interesting, because Gridwalker is using Claude Code with a setup token. So I need to set up Claude Code CLI with my setup token for ACPX to work. Interesting. It says it's doing it as a sub agent. All right. So I'm going to go over to the Pi and now I'm going to install Claude Code CLI and authenticate. Let's go over to the Pi. Okay. Claude Code CLI has been installed on your machine. Okay, so at this point, I've been going back and forth with Claude, with Gridwalker to get Claude Code installed, and it's just not working. Meanwhile, our agent here is pretty much done. So it's just writing a README and a build journal because I have all my Claude Code agents write a build journal after they work so I can remember what I was working on. So here we go. If we open up, what was it called again? Manage Business with OpenClaw. In here, we have a README. We got lessons, presentation, assets. So there's the lesson. I can open this up. This is HTML. It's formatted for me to just copy and paste into school. The Business Command Hub. Got an image. We got our health break. Okay, so that's cool. But what's really impressive is always the slideshow. So run the slideshow for me. We'll just have it run it. It's like npm run dev, and then you got to put the name of it or something, but we're just going to have Claude do it. Okay. Meanwhile, we got Claude Code authenticated. Awesome. Good work, Gridwalker. Now it's running the harness for real. Okay. So this is done. And in that time, I finally got the ACPX stuff going. That's cool. I'm not going to judge OpenClaw for that because, yeah, we're just setting it up. This is how it goes. Well, I don't know why this is taking so long. Okay, it's running in the background. It's probably going to give me the link. Manage your entire business with OpenClaw. Cool. Repos as context. Yes, the digital brain. ACP harness. So I just made a presentation that I could then theoretically use at some point in this video, in the intro maybe, or just straight up use it inside the school to really teach this, right? And so that's how this harness works. It creates on brand using a knowledge base assets. for learning AI. And it even includes the fun health break in there. ACP harnesses. So there you go. So now Gridwalker's going. That's the result of doing it with Claude Code. Very few permissions I had to give it and just kind of worked out of the box. It did ask me though, like, hey, what do we want to do? This still hasn't asked me. So let's check back in here in a bit. I'm going to go have dinner and then we'll be back. Okay, bingo. The harness produced. It used Claude Code. The subagent didn't work. Let's confirm. Yeah. We've got a working ACPX. So, how do I review it? Yes, send it all to me as a zip and update the ACPX setup to fix your hiccups. Save anything necessary to your memory, context, behavior files. Also, one thing I noticed is that like when it finally worked, it like hit the approval gate. It skipped the research. It just decided to be, let's be faster. So we'll skip the research and stuff. You don't get that with Claude Code just running in an IDE. It's not just going to skip something from the Claude MD. The OpenClaw is just like, oh, we're just going to skip it. It's cool. So I'm not really into that. All right, cool. We got the package. Message failed. I'm not sure which message. Let me update the rules. Yeah, let's just say yes. So future me doesn't repeat any of this. Okay, so inside the folder, we got a README, the lesson, HTML, and a slide dev presentation. Okay, so we'll compare this. It didn't generate the images. It also didn't ask me about the lesson numbers, if you remember from earlier. But it did do things right. It followed the right structure. It didn't do the health break. But it did do everything else right. Oh, they did do the health break. The image didn't work. That's okay. And then most importantly, the slides. So actually, how do we run this? How do I run the slide dev presentation? And tell me what went wrong in the image generation. Did you not have the Venice media skills or? So let's rewind. Tools.md and memory.md were updated with everything it learned in a hiccups file, basically. Memory is updated. Cup for reference. Once again, OpenClaw's memory system isn't the greatest, but whatever. It's better than nothing. And the slides to run it. Okay. Okay. Didn't quite get the styles right here. Let's see. Nothing went wrong with image gen. Oh, it skipped the image gen. Okay. Did you also tell it? I just cut corners to get the first run through. Did you also tell it not to brand visually the presentation in the future? No shortcuts. Always follow the harness rules and constraints to a T. Okay, so I'm going to go, obviously. No, it's not branded. Yes, fix it, motherfucker. It thinks this is branded, so something went wrong.
We did it, America! Yeah! We did it! Freedom of speech! Right on! Right on! Yeah! God bless America! Yeah! Power to the people! Yeah!
I just want everyone to know, too, while Gridwalker works, Afroman just won his court case, and this is a big deal for everyone. He is the millennial hero. The scaffold doesn't exist anyway. Okay, so I didn't include that. Yeah, so it hasn't made that yet, so that's why it didn't work. So I'd have to tell it to make that. Yes, create the scaffold so we have it in the future. Yeah, or it's just saying go through the whole thing again. Well, look, this was just a demo video, so I don't really want to go through the whole thing again. But I hope now you have an understanding of how you can use Git repos for context. You can feed knowledge bases to OpenClaw. You can give it full harnesses and use a tool like ACPX to get your agent deployed within the harness workspace. So it has the constraints and rules and all that, guidelines and skills and commands and CloudMD and all that at deployment. So it knows what to follow, unlike the main agent, because the main agent can't do that. It has to be an agent that's deployed from within that harness folder. If you want to learn more about harnesses or rigs, come check out the Armory inside the captains. These are free in your 7-day trial. You can make a full funnel. You can give these rigs to your OpenClaw like I did. AEO audit, content repurposing, and then if you decide to stick around and upgrade, there's a whole bunch more, and we keep adding more. The community is just like making more, and like these rigs are really cool. The harnesses I think are like actually cooler than OpenClaw. OpenClaw is really just about this heartbeat and the ease of interfacing with it through the channels. So if you can get this harness stuff connected with OpenClaw, it's like super powerful. Okay, so it's scaffolded the presentation. It's using the right fonts. Cool. So yeah, it followed the knowledge base. It followed the brand design system. Cool, right? There's our zip. This is the only thing I don't like. This actually could be a good reason to use Git, to just be like, okay, push it. Push it to the repo, and then I can just pull it here. So that's the lesson I'm learning in creating this video. I think many projects, especially that are going to have outputs, should just be private repos. It's going to be the easiest way to share these files. Okay, what do we do here? npm run dev? Yes. No. Maybe. Well, it's a step forward from earlier. All right, cool. Managing your entire business with OpenClaw. One AI, every project, full context. From doing everything to directing everything. All right, the image didn't work still. I'm not too concerned about that. Got a few things we could fix here. I like the fonts better, though. But you can see how now we can iterate this to make it better till we get to the point. Oh, it's got our health break. This is cool. I'm really into the ACP thing. It worked. And like, this is just classic. Like, we just got to refine now. That's how it is. Like, iterate, iterate, iterate. That's what we always got to do. Awesome. I think we did it, guys. I hope this was an inspiring video. I hope you learned some things. Come join us in the Captain's Academy, and I'll see you in the next video.